This is WSN.
And welcome to Getting Wild with Jess, here live from the Salisbury Studios, fueled by Monster Energy. And I am here not as Tribe Called Jess today. I'm a different character myself. And we are here with Brent Hess from Champions League Boxing. Hi, Brent. How are you?
How's it going? Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and it finally here on the interview on the podcast. I appreciate
Finally,
it.
finally, we had to get him. We tried to get him maybe on a Tribe Called Jess, but that would have been much scarier for him.
You got to warm me up here.
I got to warm him up here, kids, before he gets that, Jessica. Anyway, again, we are here at the Salisbury Studios, fueled by Monster Energy, and also by our partner, BetStamp, for all your betting needs and unique new user offers. So make sure that you are going to signuplogic.com/wild style network. That's WYLDE style network for all your betting needs. And that way I can continue, as well as all the podcasts and interview segments like this, to come on and give you exceptional content. And I know my AV guy, John, is throwing that on the screen. Thank you, John. Make sure you're going over there, guys. And we're super excited to talk to Brent today. He is the founder and owner of Champions with an S, League Boxing, and they are having a big event here on September 22nd, the weekend I might die, because I'm working September 21st for TCB Fights. That is our Muay Thai kickboxing, and then I am going to sleep very little and get back up and do it all again for your event of Champions League Boxing. Tell us about that, what to expect.
Well, thank you, first of all. And yes, we have an exciting doubleheader the weekend of the 21st and 22nd here coming up. As far as Champions League Boxing goes, we're here. We're sanctioned by USA Boxing. We're doing boxing a little differently in this area. We've done a show here before. We knocked it out of the park. It was really, really an awesome event. And now we're back. And so I'm really, really excited for it. We got around 25 power-packed fights for you guys and for everybody. And we're starting during the day, so don't forget. We start during the day.
That event will run, I think the first fight's at
2 p.m.
2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I am going to die. I'm going to die, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
We're going to need Monster Energy.
You know, we should thank him because he was telling me before the podcast that it was possibly going to be before TCB and then roll from that morning into TCB for the afternoon.
I'm thankful.
I'd be very grateful.
When I tell you, I forget how old I am until I am reminded of how old I am. My body says, no. I've done the 12 to we got out of here because we had that huge fight card at TCB that one time. And I'm like, I might die. Anyway, so make sure, guys, that you are going to getwild.com, GETWYLED. WYLD. I got it right. Getwild.com, and getting your tickets not only to this event, but also to come and visit me and keep me alive. Food and gifts accepted. Kidding. So we were talking a little bit, discussing matchmaking and how important that is, how Cagezilla, which you're a commentator for, which we'll get into later, is. And you said you think you're still in the process of that, but we're going to bring good fights to the table.
Yeah, we have awesome fights. Like I say, I take a lot of pride in putting together good matches, and I think that's very important, not just for boxing, but for all combat sports, where there's so much on the line. And like I say, even with my guys, I don't put easy matchups. Guys that I know, I don't give them easy matchups. I match them up by age, by record, and I get a lot of compliments from people from my matchmaking. I don't know if they're just trying to flatter me or whatnot, but I do.
Flattery works.
I do think I do a great job there, and we're working closely with the USA Boxing president, Reggie Barnett, who helps me, with a lot of the matchmaking and stuff like that as well. He's a great guy, and a lot of good energy, a lot of excited energy leading up to this event. So. Excited
and I think that's what separates, like coming to a fight, I'm going to the fights, to walking away with a great experience. Because as we were discussing prior, it's everything. I would never claim to say I know a lot about MMA or Muay Thai kickboxing, but I do interview. I listen to you guys in the headsets to get good interview questions, as well as Chat GPT guys. And I can see the levels difference in when matches are to where they're really well matched. And I feel like in our organization, Cagezilla and TCB, coming from the Wildstone Network with you guys on this fight, they've been levels, and you commentate for us, and it does make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was commentating for Cagezilla 80 a couple weeks ago, and really wasn't expecting the quality of. I always expect good quality from Cagezilla, but I wasn't expecting the crazy, like really dynamic matches that actually happened that night.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in the audience was on their feet almost every fight. Like, it was packed until the last fight of the night.
Oh, yeah.
There was 2 or 3 title fights there on that night.
Yep.
And yeah, I was in suspense up until the end. I had a great time commentating. It was awesome.
I mean, they're always busy, but I will say the last 6 months have been levels. The fights, to me, just watching them up close and personal, since I do interview those, especially those title fights. I mean, it definitely makes all the difference. And for Champions League boxing, and if you don't know Champions League boxing, oh my gosh, that's a tongue twister for me. Make sure that you're following them on all their socials at Champions League Boxing, on all your social media, correct?
Yeah.
And then YouTube as well?
Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, across the board, it's pretty much Champions League Boxing. And we got a lot of good content up, on our YouTube channel. It's growing. On our Instagram, we I do a lot of cool stuff as well. Just kind of, like you say, highlighting the athletes and the coaches is really a big thing that me kind of coming up as a fighter, I noticed was missing. A lot of promoters would just kind of book fights. All right, show up, weigh in, fight, see you later, kind of thing. And
half-ass work.
And really just the athletes never got to tell their story.
Yeah.
And so many coaches and athletes have awesome stories, like, and I'm finding that out, like talking with, we have the Army boxing, the DC Army boxing team come in, and I was talking
awesome.
I was talking with Coach Pugh, he's the coach there, and man, he's been stationed in Korea. He went to Afghanistan, Iraq. He was deployed, and he was telling me that boxing is, followed him through all that, and he coached a bunch of guys there, and just the journey that he's had. And he's just one coach. Like, I've talked to Coach Pedro, Coach, I can't even name them all, and so really that is what this is all about for me. Like, really kind of pushing through the cloth and finding the gems, and that's, getting people to tell their story. And guess what? Now I'm getting, when I first started, I was like reaching out to them, but now, and you, as you know, probably, they're reaching out to me and they're like, "Hey, can you have me on? Like, I have a story. I have a story to tell."
100%. And I think it's so important, no matter what you do, to find a story in somebody. When I go up to interview, I'm always trying to see what I can find out about the fighter. Sometimes it's more challenging and difficult than others. More have information posted all over. Some have none, and I get that.
Right. Yeah.
But I always find it great when they have, military background. I mean, one of the fighters I know had cancer and beat cancer and took the fight several times. And I just, when you dig that deep and see how they dig that deep, it's super inspiring. So I like that you said that. And I know you said you highlight fighters and coaches. And obviously, I think it takes guts anytime you're in an arena, no matter what that is. You're the one brave enough to get in there, right? But what do you think? I mean, obviously, anybody could fight if they wanted to. They could. Anybody can do anything. But what separates a fighter from a great fighter?
Being able to adapt.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
And yeah, so I always, that's a great question, and it's a question that's on the front of my mind. But think about it. I mean, if the guys have the similar skills, similar build, what you see from the great fighters, and I'm just talking fighters, in general. I did MMA, I did kickboxing, I did boxing, so I'm just talking fighting across the board.
Correct.
When you meet an opponent, you don't know what to expect, and of course you're going to have an opponent. You have two guys that want to win. So who comes out on top? The guy who's able to adapt. The guy who's able to, because everybody talks about it. Everybody's, what is Mike Tyson's quote? Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Right? And so
It's also my motto.
and so really, like, that is true. Like, you get punched in the mouth, and then your game plan goes out the window and you start swinging for the fences, getting wild, and maybe don't really do what your coaches had intended you to do, or just everything goes downhill from there, or you're able to adapt.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's what separates the greats from the goods. And like I say, that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, watching fights, and again, not claiming to be an expert, because I always look, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, of course I don't, but I know enough to be dangerous. I think the ones that make those adjustments, those key adjustments, and I think just from watching as well, is that mental preparedness, mental warfare per se. I asked the first fight I ever interviewed, I asked him how much mental warfare played in. He's like, it's the biggest part.
Yeah, that's another one. I mean, a lot of coaches across the board that I interviewed were also talking about how fighting is 90% mental, 10% physical, and some explained it better than others, but the bottom line is it's pretty much true, and
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the ability, not just obviously to psych your partner out or mess with them. I love the little tactics, like watching those go back and forth right up close and personal. It's always interesting and funny. I'm like, you're ballsy. But it is the ability to remain calm within self, to be able to not psych yourself out. And I mean, great life lesson, but also on the fly, that is extremely difficult to do.
Right.
And I do agree with that statement. And then, so I guess switching gears here just a little bit, I listen in the corners to the coaches when I am up on those title fights, and I'm listening to what they're saying. And, you highlight great coaches, and I know what things I respect in leadership. But what do you think makes a great coach compared to just a great leader, I guess? It doesn't matter what it is.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, so kind of giving your fighter well, first of all, as a coach, if you don't know your fighter, you're going to have a hard time coaching them, right? So a lot of good coaches know their fighter really well, and not everything works the same for everybody. There's no cookie cutter, like, all right, you're going to go out there, press A, press B. And, it's not like a video game, right? So you have to be able to, back to what I was saying, as a coach, be able to adapt, right? Be able to see, like, hey, you're getting hit with that leg kick, or hey, that jab is landing on you every time. You got to move your head. You got to parry that punch, or, whatever the case may be, you got to be able to give your fighter good advice. And then another thing as a coach for me is, like, that I always liked as a coach was calling out things that would incentivize him to do better.
Yeah. I think that's really important.
And that's not just saying, like, oh, kick his butt, or punch him hard. And those are like commands that maybe are just generic coming from the crowd,
right.
But like really, like I say, knowing your fighter and being able to give him those words of advice while he's in the ring, and then when he comes back to his corner, being able to tell him what he's doing wrong.
Yeah, I think always leading with, obviously letting people know what they're doing wrong or where they need to make better adjustments is good, but always leading with the positive tends to have a better response. I mean, that's scientifically proven, and also I just think it's the better way to lead, I guess. And I've listened to coaches who do the opposite of that, and they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I get it. It's a rough sport, but like leadership is there is a recipe to success for leadership, and coaching is no different.
Right.
And I also find it interesting, like this time I had little kids behind me at the last Cagezilla, and it was they were about 10, I would say, and they were just how enamored, how much they look up to these guys, how inspiring they can be to these little kids. I know my son was so inspired and still talks about it, 21 years old, about Anthony Cordero's first fight he ever saw.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, he's amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
and inspired him. And anytime he sees him, he kind of looks up. So I think that's something big for them, don't you think?
That's huge. I mean, yeah, I tell the fighters all the time, and that's why when fighters get in and kind of act a certain way or act stupid or disrespectful or curse or things like that, I'm not a huge fan of that, because I know there's a lot of youth looking at them, looking up to them, and just, for them to set a bad example is not my favorite thing. But for them to set a good example to stay on the positive is awesome, because I think, man, I mean, to as an athlete, to show the youth, hey, stay disciplined, you're training and going through a fight camp and making it to the fight, and making weight and all those little things that really can change a kid's life. A lot of the youth that I've interviewed on the Real Influence podcast, which is what I kind of call my interviews, have a similar thing where, like, hey, I saw this when I was growing up, and I saw this on TV, or I saw the UFC, or I saw some pros in the gym, and I thought maybe I could do that one day, or maybe I could, emulate them. And guess what I'd say to them? I say, yes, you can.
You can, absolutely.
Everybody's got 2 hands, 2 feet, and what separates you from them? You are actually younger than them, so you have the advantage. Of being able to see.
Well, a lot of people have
right?
the advantage over me. I have street cred, guys.
That's right.
Growing up, getting jumped. So just taking it back real quick, how did you get started in this? Obviously, I know you have a history of fighting from the time you were, 15 years old?
Yeah.
But how did you get started with Champions League boxing? Like, how did that all come together for you? And where's it going?
Yeah. So my father started my keto like back in the day. I'm going to keep it short. So my keto is a mixture of kickboxing and grappling. He was doing that before it was called MMA. Before MMA, the acronym existed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was just
Awesome.
It was just called kickboxing with grappling. And so he used to do MMA events before, like I say, the MMA term, and he used to do them in gymnastics places, at Hayfield High School, like a big high schools, and nobody really knew what it was, but they thought it was really cool. And really, like, nowadays, he probably could never do that at Hayfield High School, right? Like that would never be allowed.
Right.
But it was kind of like he was before his time, and so kind of fast forward, I grew up as a fighter in that, and kind of around in the competition arena for all of my young life and into my teens and into my 20s. And so I've been around it. I know what fighters like and don't like. I know what promoters do and kind of how they treat others. And so I kind of like absorbed a lot of that. And I didn't know that one day I was going to be doing this. Yeah. But here we are.
You just kind of progressed. It was a natural progression for you.
Yeah. 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 And so it was like a little bit more than a year ago, we did our first event here. And
That's awesome. See, we're popular.
That's right. That's right. The Salisbury Center was the jump off.
That's awesome.
And Champions League boxing kind of took off from there, and really grateful to Jeff and all the Cagezilla /TCB Wild Style production crew that have been so kind of helping us to navigate this whole thing and helping me to navigate this whole thing. And I feel like I've done my part a little bit too, kind of thing. And now kind of being part of the Cagezilla commentating team and things like that, it's kind of a great synergy. And, this is just the beginning, I hope.
Yeah, it's really cool listening to you because, like I said, I get to listen in the headphones, and Chris will let me steal, and I try to, derive questions from that aren't generic, or some I do try to dig in. So it's enjoyable. How much do you love that you did the first Spanish podcast?
Cagezilla Español.
And that was awesome. Yeah. So what is that like? And are you super passionate about it. I can always tell. You guys are like up there. I feel like I'm listening to true professionals like on the TV, which is very cool.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like I say, it really is full circle for me because I used to compete, and on the last show I saw Art, which he was the original OG Operation Act, and he started this whole thing, and I feel like, and he. It was great to see him. And for him to be like, hey, man, what's up? You're commentating now. This is awesome. And I was like, what's up, dude?
It's crazy because I remember 2008, I think we were over in Sterling.
I was going to say, you don't need to feel like Art started. He did start it.
Yeah.
When it was 00 going over and helping Jeff out, and like to watch the progression of where it's at now is just like crazy to me in a good, I don't have any doubt, right? Because I know Jeff.
Yeah.
I know Art just through Jeff. But just watching the progression of it, it's really, it's cool to see.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me because I remember vividly like Art and Jeff like cage side watching me fight.
Yeah.
And then so now for me to be, and then there was the next chapter, which was them sitting there as well, watching me coach.
Yeah.
And then the next chapter now, which is like, me commentating and putting on boxing events. It's kind of like a really cool novel that I'm a part
a
of.
A really cool MMA novel. Is there a romance?
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, come on.
We'll see.
What's going on? No, I'm kidding.
There's obviously romance. He's got a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Oh, how old are you? Now, will you let your kids fight? Girls or boys?
2 girls.
Oh boy,
2 girls.
will you let them fight?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's undecided.
I love it. No. If they were boys, would you say yes? I'm going to trap you right in this corner.
If it's boys, it's a different story.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know. Their aunt was a badass.
Yeah, I know. My sister was a Jeff remembers my sister and in the operation. I mean, I don't know. Everybody asked me that question, and I'm still undecided. I think my real answer is, if they really want to compete, I'll support them and really kind of back them and help them in the way that I know how to do. But I will not push them to fight. No.
Correct. I think. So there's a two-side answer here, right? The competitive person you are, and I'm sure you're supportive of women and you can do anything, and that's what the message you relay to your daughters.
Yeah.
Then like me with a son, who it's a boy, I remember the guy that got knocked out right in front of me, and I just flinched and went back, and I think there was blood involved, and you see me get up, and I couldn't look anymore because all I could think about was my kid. And like when you think about it being your child, it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah, no.
And you see it life through a different lens when it's kids. So
yeah.
I understand. But that's cool.
Yeah.
2 girls. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in double trouble.
You are in up shit's creek without a paddle. Girls are fun. Are fun. So where do you go from here? Like, what are your plans with Champions League boxing, with commentating? Do you still coach? I'm sorry, forgive me.
Yeah.
You do coach?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I still coach, commentating, and the boxing, of course. Yeah, I plan to continue all of those things, and of course, the Champions League boxing has to grow.
Yeah,
that's my goal there. I mean, obviously, coaching has to grow, and everything has to grow, but Champions League boxing, I hope, really takes off and starts to be kind of a staple in the community, because it's already like. I've been rejecting coaches and boxers for probably 2 weeks now that really that want to be on the card.
Yeah,
it's already like catching a lot of energy and good energy
good for you.
And good momentum. And this is not like a card where I'm begging fighters to fight. Like they're all contacting me, and I, like I say, I've been telling them all like, hey, you got to wait till the next event, kind of thing. At this point, and they're like begging me, and I'm like, no, dude, like, so. I think the growing the room for growth is there.
Yeah.
And so, like I say, talk to me on September 23rd, and I'll tell you where we're going from here. Because I gotta, I know the show is gonna kick butt.
Yeah.
But we'll
Shows are always, it always is when you're going into an event. You can't think about that. You just got to keep promoting. Just go head on first and, do everything you can and put it out there. And the show will be just
my
fine.
plan is to do another one before the end of the year, so
Excellent.
possibly in November.
And you teamed up with, I saw Mighty Meals today. So
Yes.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because
So
they're pretty big. And
yeah, they're like
Danny
the leader.
And Steo. I got to give Steo a shout out.
Yeah,
Good
I didn't
friend.
know you were
Yeah.
friends with some of the owners, and I'm
Yeah.
friends with, a high school friend with Alex Lebanet, who's one of the
Yeah.
owners as well. And they're going to be here. They're going to be here giving out some samples.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Giving out some meals
awesome.
to our officials, and so yeah, we just partnered up with Mighty Meals, so they're a really cool meal.
They're
prep.
very good. The meals are good as well.
Yeah,
I'll
really,
give them props. They're good.
Really good. I had some. I want to say a couple weeks ago, and they're not in my fridge anymore.
They're not. So, guys, just kind of go round robin. We are going to be here September 21st for TCB fights.
Yes.
That is DMV's longest running and most successful Muay Thai kickboxing promotion. What do you call that? ASMR, John? In my ASMR voice. So go to tcbtickets.com. And then we're going to turn right back around and you're going to go to getwild.com and you are going to get tickets to Champions League Boxing, where they're going to have title fights as well, and fights starting at 2 and ending at 7. So a full day, and a full day for me. So bring me snacks, gifts, and anything's accepted. It's going to be wild. Any last words you want to leave about the event, about Champions League? Do you want to come on Tribe Called Jess and have a totally different experience?
Yes.
You'd be afraid. Be very, very afraid of what you wish for.
I told you that. No, I just hope everyone comes out. I hope everyone gets their tickets, whether through the Wild Style website or championsleagueboxing.com. It's the same thing. And yeah, let's come out. Let's have a rocking show. Expecting a lot of good energy, a lot of good fights. We're gonna have some title fights, like you mentioned. First ever Champions League champions crowned.
That's exciting. I'm excited for you. Like, that's a big step.
Yeah, that's a huge step. We got some really, really nice title belts, and a lot of exciting fighters that are gonna be that really want to be here. That's what I expect. And make sure you guys follow us on our Instagram, YouTube channel, and all that at championsleagueboxing.com. Champions League Boxing is the what's it called? The screen name. I'm old. The screen
Your
name.
handle. It's your handle, guys.
The handle.
I'm older. 49, guys. I bet you're not 49.
No, you got
I'm
me
very
by-
current. I have my little Gen Z and Gen Y friends to keep me current.
I said screen name. So yeah, Champions League Boxing and championsleagueboxing.com for tickets. I look forward to seeing everybody out. It's going to be an exciting day.
Do you have a TikTok?
I did, but
You got to get on the TikTok.
Yeah, I got banned, so I gotta.
Oh, you just
We have to.
you just have to start a new. You just have to start a new TikToks.
You got to teach me about it.
Yeah, it's you get shadow banned and just start a new handle.
The kids were trying to get me on. As soon as I got on, it was like,
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. They have lots of rules. What were you gonna say, John?
Can I toss something in?
Yeah.
All right, talking about social media. Go back to MySpace. Who would be your top 5 boxers in your MySpace profile page? All time.
All right.
Don't think anyone particular, like local. Just your top 5.
MySpace. I don't.
Just pick your top 5 boxers.
Okay.
Keep
All
it
right. The
simple.
top 5 boxers. I would say Canelo. I really like Canelo. He's coming up actually this weekend. I like Terrence Crawford. That's kind of why I want to see them fight. You can't really have a top 5 without Mike Tyson.
I was
That's
gonna
why.
say Tyson Foreman.
That's why I don't really want him to fight Jake Paul. And then I got 2 more, right? Did you say Foreman?
I love George Foreman.
I like George Foreman too.
I love George
Yeah,
Foreman.
that reminded me.
I'm old. I told you. I love boxing. Now boxing. I love boxing. That I know.
Yeah, no, I really like George Foreman, and then I got one left.
Oscar. You got to go Oscar a little bit. Oscar was good for what he was good for. Plus, he was hot. I mean, he was good for the media.
Dang.
Ricky Patton.
Jake Paul.
Ricky Hatton. I like Ricky Hatton. I like the Irish.
He said Jake Paul. Can Jake Paul even be like a favorite boxer, I guess? But no, dang.
I don't even know who Jake Paul is.
Oh, good.
I don't.
Really?
No, because I watched the boxing back, Foreman was fighting, obviously Tyson's, Evander Holyfield, Ricky Hatton, Oscar.
Yeah.
Like that, all that come up. And I love that I feel like it's gone so different now.
Yeah.
It's not the way it was just with a lot of things. It's just different, but I loved it back then.
Yeah, maybe Roy Jones Jr. in his prime.
That's a good one.
He was one of my
excellent.
He was one of my y'all must have forgot.
But he don't stop talking smack ever. But I do like him.
He was lightning.
All right, so a serious question on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Taylor Swift?
Now I know what you want me to say.
Be careful.
Um
I was giving him a hard time telling him I will cut off friendships.
Let me say something. I do like Taylor Swift. Her music, is for the Swifties. But I don't see her, and I hope this doesn't offend you. I don't really see her as that attractive.
A lot of in
my opinion.
I will say I think Taylor's like a lot of women have gone through up and downs. Right now with her new stylist who's ever doing, she looks awesome. But I will say I get it because sometimes she's just like this. But I like how she's always authentic and true to herself, which to me makes her super hot. Which goes into, guys, couple things. Make sure that you are going to the Wild Style Network on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the TikToks. Are we even on Twitter? I don't know. Wild Style Network, and make sure you follow and subscribe because not only does it help our podcast, our network, but all these fighters. And I'm at the wrong camera, guys. Sorry. So that's again, if you go to YouTube, you can watch Getting Wild with Jess series. We have some DJ interviews with Misha, Anthony Atala. We obviously have this one with Brent Huss. We have, I have a plastic surgeon coming up, guys. So lots of exciting things going on with that. Make sure you go to Tribe Called Jess on all socials. Follow and subscribe, as well as Tribe Called Jess, the #1 on Instagram. I really appreciate it. And this week on the Tribe, speaking of Taylor Swift, we will go on at 8:30. I have Millie, I have Lauren. I'm not sure if I have Jason, and I have the normal tribe. We're going to talk about Mean Girls, what girls really think of men. Do girls really support women? And we're going to give you the dirty dish we talk about behind your back, guys. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Brent. I'm so looking forward to the fight on the 22nd. Any last comments we want to add?
Where can they buy tickets and streaming and?
Oh, I already said it.
I'll just recap.
You can go and get tickets at getwild.com, GETWYLDE.com. I believe, John, you can also purchase the streaming. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
The live
off
stream
of Get Wild,
yep. Correct. And you can go to your website for like more detailed information. Is that correct? I think that links through ours too.
Champions League Boxing links into the Get Wild site, and from there you can get tickets, VIP tickets, live stream, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like the main place for all that.
Okay. And what better thing on September 22nd do you have to do on a Sunday afternoon than come and watch fights and chill with me?
That's right.
Because know I'm going to be tired and levels hyper versions of myself on lots of caffeine.
And the Commanders aren't playing that Sunday. They're playing on the Monday night.
Well,
so come
more
on,
the
guys.
reason to come and hang out with Brent and I. And I appreciate everyone tuning in. Brent for being here.
Thank you.
Jeff for being amazing and help us to continue to bring organizations like Champions League Boxing and, of course, Cagezilla TCB. And, of course, my AV, John, who without him, it wouldn't ever happen. Johnny Caniford, we love you. Please tune in next time. I'll be back on Getting Wild with Jess at 6 p.m. next Wednesday with some plastic surgery glow up. More to come. And Tribe Called Jess this week at 8:30. Thanks, guys. Tune in next time. Take good care. Later.
This is WSN. Love it or leave it. The underdog's on top.